All right, on this video, we are going to review how to simplify things with I in it. Remember, the most important thing is I squared is equal to -1. You'll be using that over and over again. Okay, so I've got some division problems here, but I think we're going to move down and start with addition and multiplication and subtraction. Okay, notice this is so obvious, but students miss this all the time. Someone will miss it. So be careful. Just because there's parentheses there does not mean you multiply them. This means multiply because the parentheses are touching each other, okay? These two parentheses are being added together. So all you do on this one is combine like terms. 8 plus 5 is 13. 6i plus -2i is 4i. Please do not overthink that and do too much to it. If it's addition, add the terms, okay? Now this one is multiply, so you need to distribute it out. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 4i is 28i. 3i times 2 is 6i. 3i times 4i is 12i squared. Then those two can go together. 28 and 6 is 34, so I have a 34i. This is -12 because I squared is -1. And 14 minus 12 is 2. So 2 plus 34i would be your answer on that one. Okay, this one is very similar to the top one. It is subtract, so make sure that you subtract both terms. 10 minus 2 is 8, and then -3i minus a -9i is plus. If you need to write this out, write -2 plus 9i, if that helps you. You've got, think of there being a 1 there, you've got to distribute that through because you're subtracting everything in that parentheses. So -3i plus 9i is plus 6i. Okay, so that's multiply, add, and subtract. So let's come up here to division. You do not want to have an I in the denominator. You're not allowed to leave it that way. So you can multiply top and bottom by 3i, but all you need to do is multiply it by I. So that's going to give you -8i on top, 3i squared on the bottom. So that's -8i over -3, which is positive 8i over 3. So that's all you need to do on that one. If you multiply the top and bottom by 3i, you're just going to have to divide everything by 3. Okay, when you have addition on the bottom, you're going to have to multiply by the conjugate, which is the exact same thing, except it has a minus where there was a plus or vice versa. If I multiply the bottom by that, I have to multiply the top by that. So I get 34 minus, of course I did that, I think that's 85. 17 times, yeah, 85. So minus 85i over, now we're going to use the fact that a plus b times a minus b is a squared minus b squared. When I multiply conjugates together, I get the first thing squared minus the second thing squared. So I'm going to get 4 minus 25i squared. So it will always result in addition on the bottom. So 34 minus 85i over 4 plus 25, so I get 29. And then you would reduce if anything would reduce, but 29 is prime, so it won't. Okay, so this would be a good time to pause the video and you try to do this one. We'd work it the same way as the one above. So I'm going to go ahead and work it now. I'm going to multiply by 4 plus I. So 4 plus I. So I get 20 plus 5i over the first thing squared minus the second thing squared. So that gives me 20 plus 5i over 17, because I squared is -1. And again, none of those reduce. So that's my answer. Okay, this one is very similar, but your top just makes it a little more complicated because you have addition on the top. So it doesn't matter what the top is, you're going to multiply by the conjugate of the bottom, because that's where you're trying to get rid of the I. On top, you're going to have to just multiply that by 7 plus 2i. So the denominator is the easiest. First thing squared minus the second thing squared. Make sure you square your numerator and your I, or not your numerator, your coefficient and your I. A lot of people will put 2i squared there. So make sure you do 2 times 2 and you get 4. Okay, then the top, 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 2i is 4i. 3i times 7 is 21i. 3i times 2i is plus 6i squared. Okay? Then I can put these i's together. 4i plus 21i is 25i. This becomes a negative 6 because I squared is negative 1. 14 minus 6 is 8. So I have 8 plus 25i. This becomes plus 4 because I squared is negative 1. 49 plus 4 is 53. And again, 53 doesn't have any common factors with 8 and 25, so it doesn't reduce. So that is how you simplify things with I. If you have a negative inside a radical, you might have to do a little bit of simplifying also. So let's say you have square root of negative 8 times 3i plus the square root of negative, negative 10. Okay? It's supposed to be a 10, looks like.